Sierra Yoder went into labor just in time, wearing an orange t-shirt with a pumpkin on her belly for Halloween night. The shirt bore the name Bentley, signifying her new son's name and his expected birth date, October 31st, 2015. Sierra and her husband, Dustin Yoder, got in the car and headed to the hospital, but they didn't bring any bottles, diapers, or a car seat to bring their newborn son home. Instead, they packed a onesie, matching pants, and fuzzy socks, the outfit they intended to bury him in. Bentley had a rare condition where his brain was growing outside his skull, a reality Sierra and Dustin, from the small town of Sugar Creek, Ohio, were painfully aware of. Sierra remembers the physicians telling her and her husband that their son wouldn't live long after birth. The doctors warned them that even if Bentley survived, he would do so without any cognitive function. Parents choose life for baby despite encouragement for abortion. Baby survives groundbreaking surgery. Sierra stated that she and her husband were encouraged to consider abortion, which they did, but they ultimately decided to continue with the pregnancy. The night before the operation, they were just hours away from Bentley's birth. They had made plans to meet their son and then bid him farewell. "We were eager to meet him, even if it was only for an hour. We were just relieved that he had made it that far and that we would be able to meet him alive," Sierra Yoder told the Washington Post. However, Bentley had different plans. According to his parents, he's now 7 months old and alert after doctors at Boston Children's Hospital devised a way to reinsert his brain into his cranium in what's been dubbed the granddaddy of all cases. It was a life-saving treatment, Boston Children's Hospital neurosurgeon-in-chief Mark Proctor told the Boston Globe. However, he cautioned it will not restore Bentley to a completely normal life. Bentley was born with encephalocele, a rare congenital condition in which part of the brain herniates from the skull. He will undoubtedly face challenges. Encephalocele is a rare congenital condition where a baby's brain herniates from the skull while still in the womb, and the surrounding bones do not grow properly. According to the National Organization for Rare Disorders, the portion of the brain that rests outside the skull is usually covered by a thin layer of skin or membranes. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, approximately 375 children, or 1 out of every 10,000, are born each year in the United States with this deformity, which can cause mental and physical impairments, vision problems, seizures, and muscle weakness in the arms and legs. The cause is unknown. Experts explain that, like most neurological conditions, there is a spectrum of severity ranging from mild to moderate to severe cases like Bentley's. The ruptured sac could contain brain membranes and brain fluid, according to Alan Cohen, head of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Couple overcomes rare brain condition in unborn baby. During surgery, a surgeon typically removes the sac if it's filled with non-functional brain matter, Cohen said. However, if it contains essential brain structures, the surgeon must find a way to reinsert the brain into the skull. "We didn't think we had a chance," Sierra and Dustin Yoder, both 25, shared. They grew up together in Sugar Creek. Sierra explained that their mothers had known each other since high school and had introduced them when they were just 2 years old. They were married by the age of 21, and their first child, Bo, was born 2 months later. Sierra said her first pregnancy and delivery went smoothly, and their son is doing well. They began planning for Bentley in December. "We didn't care if it was a little boy or a little girl," she explained. "All we wanted was to make sure Bo had a sibling." They were expecting the baby the following month, and Sierra mentioned that things seemed to be the same the second time around. The baby began to kick and kick and kick. Couple receives terrifying news about baby's skull during ultrasound. During an ultrasound scan, Sierra Yoder and her husband were squabbling about the ideal baby names. Sierra recalled that at 22 weeks, she and her husband went to the doctor to find out the gender of their baby. Her doctor squirted gel onto her stomach for the ultrasound and began the scan. Then, Sierra noticed that the doctor became solemn, and they were terrified. Something appeared to be wrong with the baby's skull, according to Yoder. Perhaps he had misplaced his crown, or maybe it was something more serious. It wasn't clear. She and her husband were sent to the hospital for more examinations. "I started crying right away," Sierra explained. "I wasn't sure he'd make it." Couple contemplates abortion after learning baby's life will be incompatible with life. The doctors didn't know what to expect either. Bentley's congenital abnormality was disclosed to the Yoders by neurosurgeons at a Canton hospital, who warned them that their baby had a low chance of survival. If he makes it, the doctors told them, he might not live long. At the hospital, Bentley was immediately wrapped in a blanket by the nurses. There was no one to clean him, measure him, or clear the birth fluids from his neck. Bentley needed to be in his parents' arms as soon as possible. Family spends precious moments with baby born with life-threatening condition. Every moment spent with Bentley was priceless for the Yoders. Each one could have been the last for all they knew. He was perfect, Sierra remarked. It didn't matter how much time we had. We were simply grateful to be able to hold him. However, Bentley was crying, breathing, and moving. Everyone was staring at him, waiting for something to happen, she continued, but it didn't. Bentley had not been put down for 36 hours, according to Sierra Yoder, and family members had been passing him around. We turned to the nurse and asked, "What do we do now?" She explained. The doctors urged the family to take Bentley home and arrange for hospice care, which is exactly what they did. Bentley's health continued to be a concern. He was admitted to the hospital with a respiratory virus, as well as strep and staph infections in his lungs. Baby defies odds by breathing on his own after brain surgery. At one point, Bentley was put on a breathing machine, and doctors were concerned that once it was removed, he wouldn't be able to breathe on his own. However, he did. He was awake, said the narrator. He was staring right at us. Bentley saw a specialist at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus when he was about 4 weeks old. According to Sierra Yoder, a neurosurgeon warned her after analyzing Bentley's MRI that his brain was severely damaged both inside and outside his skull, and that he would not survive. At that moment, we had no confidence, she said. At 4 months old, Bentley was sent to the Cleveland Clinic, where a surgeon told his parents that Bentley seemed to be using his brain, but the surgeon wasn't sure if he could safely reinsert it into his cranium. The family then headed to Boston Children's Hospital, where Bentley was introduced to the surgical team by Dustin and Sierra, who see a few severe encephalocele cases each year. Doctors devised a surgical plan for baby with brain protrusion using 3D printed models. Mark Proctor, the neurosurgeon, and John Mira, the top plastic surgeon at Boston Children's Hospital, devised a surgical plan. At the time, Bentley was 5 months old and had a pouch extending from his skull that included a major portion of his brain, a part that regulates motor function, problem-solving, and vision. Unlike many encephalocele cases, Bentley was using this part of his brain, which was now hidden beneath a blanket of golden locks, so it couldn't be removed. Bentley's surgical team at Boston Children's Hospital employed 3D printed models to prepare and practice their techniques. Bentley's brain was 100 cubic centimeters outside his skull, so the surgeons had to expand his cranium to accommodate it. They devised a strategy to make multiple vertical cuts into Bentley's cranium and allow it to expand, creating extra space. Special dissolving plates would then hold the region open, allowing Bentley's brain to return to his cranium. Neurosurgeons successfully replaced baby's brain after removing skull section. On May 24th, the surgical team began their work. Bentley's curls were shaved and the skin and membranes covering his brain were carefully removed. The neurosurgeon noted that the portion of Bentley's brain outside his skull included a small part of the right frontal lobe and a larger part of the right occipital lobe. Specialists then drained the cerebrospinal fluid from Bentley's brain. With precision, the team made incisions in the cranium and meticulously repositioned the brain back inside his head.